Welcome back to the Living in St. George, Utah channel. Sean and I are part of the #1 relocation team here in St. George, Utah. In this video, we're going to give you what niche.com calls the #1 suburb to retire in all of the state of Utah. We're going to give you that suburb, and we're going to talk about, where is it? What are the pros and cons? What are some of the popular communities that you may have heard of if you've been Googling around? So let's just go straight out with it. What does niche.com say is the #1 suburb to retire in Utah?
Ivins. Ivins is that suburb, that city-town that's right outside of St. George that is, again, it's #1.
Yes, according to niche.com.
Yeah, and so and as far as like what Ivins is, so Ivins is is it a city or a town?
Yeah, it's a city.
Okay, I'm not sure how they classify it. So Ivins is a city that's just north of St. George. So from Ivins to, let's say, city center, like Main Street in St. George, is about 20 minutes away, give or take. So it's not far away at all, right? So you're really close to where all the action is. But what's nice about Ivins is that it does feel like you're kind of a world away. It's a totally different feel than St. George. Yeah,
so it kind of goes, St. George is in the middle, and then you drive through Santa Clara, and then you hit Ivins.
Yes.
And again, we always make the joke on this channel that everything in St. George is 15 minutes away. And Ivins kind of is that as well. I mean, there are some places in Ivins that are a little bit farther.
Maybe 25 minutes.
Maybe 25 minutes, but it really is a lot closer than you would think.
Yeah, exactly. For the actual landscape and where you are, you feel like you're hours away, and you're not that far away at all.
So if you are thinking about buying a home in Ivins, Utah, reach out to us, because Sean and I, we are licensed realtors here in the state of Utah, and our team can help you find that perfect home for you, whether that's in Ivins or somewhere else in this wonderful region of southern Utah. So take that number that's there below, write it down, reach out to us, or take that email that's there below, write it down, and reach out to us. So since we gave an explanation of where Ivins is,
yes,
let's talk about some pros and cons.
Okay.
So I would say one pro, not only of Ivins, but of the entire, southern Utah region, is the very, very neutral, it's the wrong word, the very mild weather. We do get, every once in a while I get some snow, not really.
A little dusting.
A little dusting of snow. This winter actually has been colder than normal.
Yeah. Still playable though, like, you can still do outdoor stuff.
For sure, like, it's not that cold at all. But I would say that's a huge reason why people from all over the world and the country come here to this region, is because of the great weather. We have really hot summers, but 9 months out of the year you've got, honestly, almost ideal weather.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, when you say all over the world, like, for instance, Ironman World Championships is held in this St. George, like the southern Utah region. And, how it has been, so one, we've had this full Ironman World Championships held here, as well as, like we've had a few times, like the half Ironman World Championships too. So this is an ideal area. If you're looking for outdoor stuff to do, this place is pretty awesome.
Yeah, year-round outdoor weather. I think that's something, if you don't know much about Utah, I think a misconception that people have, they think that, well, St. George and Ivins, because we're talking about Ivins, well, it's in Utah, so that must mean
it's snowing.
It's snowing, you're in the mountains. That's not how, we're actually in a valley, we're in all of Utah is a desert, but we are truly like a desert.
Yeah, we're lower elevation, so we're about 2,500 feet, give or take. So because of that lower elevation, we don't get hit with, again, the cold, like, you would get, even, at Cedar City is only like, only about 45 minutes away, and they're about 5,000, feet, and totally different kind of climate there.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, of course, you brought up weather being, mild weather being a pro. Now, our first con is basically also pertaining to the weather.
Yeah, so that would be the super hot summers. I mean, I wouldn't say the summers here are any worse. I mean, for example, I lived in New York City because I went to grad school there. Summers there are awful. Summers here are awful. My sister lives in Texas. Summers in Texas are awful. Summers here are awful. I mean, summers tend to be hot. I mean, there obviously are some places in the United States where summers are actually nice. This is not one of them.
Yes.
So that's a con.
Yeah, so the way that you navigate this, okay, first you have to understand, so yeah, you're going to hit triple digits. Let's just be real. Summer is going to be hot. Now, having said that, it is a dry heat, so comparing that to, like, let's say your sister lives in Texas, where she's got the humidity going on. So not only is it approaching or above triple digits, but then they have the crazy humidity to go with it, which is unbearable. Like, I truly hate that kind of, that sticky heat. And that, like, where it's hot and sticky, like, brutal. So here
and the bugs,
yeah,
the bugs too. We don't really get like the disgusting mosquitoes and stuff like that. I mean, we do have like centipedes and scorpions and stuff like that, but in terms of
like how often do you even see those? Like,
no, you don't.
Yeah, so basically, it seems like the bugs, they're there. Like you know, you're not like here. You're like, you know, I mean,
you may
rarely
see
them.
one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and so like we have like the dry heat, which is helpful, and also again how you navigate this. Just a little pro tip. If you're gonna do stuff outdoor activities, do it in the morning. The mornings are actually on the rather pleasant side. If you miss that about 11, 12 o'clock, about 11ish cutoff, it's gonna get hot. Like it's gonna stay hot into the afternoon. Some different areas around the country or world, you're dealing with the heat where it like cools off in the afternoon. That's not what happens here. It definitely stays pretty elevated temperature. So do your stuff in the morning.
So now let's talk about a specific pro. Well, again, this isn't necessarily specific to Ivins. It's the whole St. George region, but Ivins does have spectacular golf. It has some spectacular golf communities, and we will talk about one in particular that is very popular and that you may have heard of. So let's talk about the golf in Ivins.
It's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so Entrada, like golf, they just did a huge renovation, like multi-million-dollar renovation of this golf course, and it's been very critically acclaimed, very well received. And so that's one of those things where, okay, if you're into golf, Ivins is awesome, and they have that new golf course right next door,
the Black Desert Resort,
yeah, so
which is not open yet, but it is opening soon.
Very soon.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be pretty huge too. So if you're interested in golf, Ivins is pretty awesome. And this will actually lead to our other pro is that, what's amazing is that you're getting this, again, relatively good value for like an absolutely majestic scenery. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful here. I mean, with the red rocks, it is so amazing to see the various colors, like where you see the black lava rock. Then sometimes you'll, depending on the time of year, you might have some greenery too, and then you have the red rock on that. And then sometimes you can see out in the distance like the white snowy peak. So it's like, it looks like an artist painted it, and it wasn't like a realistic painting either. It's kind of like, it looks like, it just doesn't look real.
Yeah, I mean, you have these, like Sean was saying, the beautiful red rocks, and then it contrasts to, sometimes you can see the snowy peak of Pine Mountain, and then obviously you have trees out there, and then you have the black lava rocks, and then you just have the energy of the rocks as well. I mean, I'm getting a little woo-woo here, but I mean, you do have the amazing energy of the rocks, and that's just something that Ivins is just so known for. It's I feel like it's a special place.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's go into another con. I would say that Ivins, it kind of feels isolated in itself because there's not a lot of infrastructure there, meaning I don't even know if there's an actual grocery store in the city of Ivins. Not a
supermarket.
Yeah.
Like they might have like a little market stuff I think they have there, but yeah, actually you have to go to Santa Clara, like again, we're talking
like 10 minutes.
If that even. Like I guess depending on where you are in Ivins, but it's not far away. But having said that, within Ivins itself, you don't really have much in the form of like the normal day-to-day shopping kind of things.
And then we're just going to talk about two well-known communities because you may have heard of them. When you're Googling, they tend to pop up. So let's talk about Kayenta and Entrada and the differences between them. And if you stay to the end, I will link. We've actually done a full vlog tour of Ivins, and so you can see inside Kayenta and Entrada. So you want to talk about them and how they're different? Sure.
So yeah, so for instance, they're actually, it's funny, like they're both in Ivins, they're only mere minutes away from each other, but very different vibes. Like, so, and as far as price point goes, I would say Entrada is a higher price point than Kayenta on average, but so it's kind of more one of the more ritzy neighborhoods in all of St. George basically. But so Entrada is, gated community, newer build, they have the golf course, again, beautiful homes, and they have, some really nice views. And then Kayenta is a bit, well, I mean, they're still building to this day, but a lot of the homes are built, like, let's say in the 90s or, early 2000s kind of thing. And they're, they're not gated, they don't have any, golf course. They're very much the opposite where, I would say Entrada kind of did a lot of terraforming, whereas, Kayenta said, we're going to be part of the nature here. We're going to have, the homes kind of blend in. You actually are surprised by how many homes there are in Kayenta because it doesn't, again, when you're driving by, these are pretty much all single-story homes. They can only develop, I think, on 30% of the land, so they're kind of spread out because these homes are on let's say half-acre, acre-sized lots, that kind of thing. And it's just amazing how they've kind of situated it. And some of these Cayenta homes have absolutely stunning views.
Yeah, and then also Cayenta, it has a little arts village there,
Yes.
and they have little art events that are happening, usually 2 big festivals twice a year, and they actually do have a really nice cafe there as well, Zayteva Cafe.
Shout out.
Shout out. Yes, let's be real, St. George, Utah is not known for food, but this cafe actually is good. Yeah, it's good. So if Ivins seems like a place that you might be interested in, or this entire St. George region, maybe Ivins, what we've said is, oh, you know, it's not for you. You don't like it.
Well, and having said that, Ivins was #1 in the state of Utah. St. George was #2
Yeah.
for retirees. So according to niche.com.
According to niche.com.
So
yeah.
like, yes, obviously you're not really, if you're wanting a little bit more, just be in the middle of more stuff, St. George might be the better fit for you. So it's kind of one of those things where you want to reach out to us, take down this number, email us, we can have that conversation as far as what makes the most sense for you. Is it Ivins? Is it St. George? Is it Hurricane? I mean, there's like a bunch of different variations, there's a lot of variety here depending on what you're looking for. So that's why we want to have that call with you to really discover what makes sense for you.